1969, a rocket launch was still a national event. Americans were riveted to the space race and watched in awe as men first walked on the moon. Everyone has seen the footage.
Awaiting their return.
It's one small step for man,
But 40 years later, the enthusiasm lives on.
one giant leap for mankind.
This is the National Air and Space Museum in Washington, D.C. Its more than 7 million visitors per year make it the most popular museum in America and one of the most visited in the world. The star of the museum is the actual Apollo 11 capsule that carried the astronauts who walked on the moon back to Earth.
It's pretty cool.
Amy Segal and Sam, her 4-year-old son, can hardly believe their eyes.
We talk about the moon landing, we talk about space a lot at home, and so...
I have a book.
Close by, children practice picking up moon rocks. Perhaps among them there is a future astronaut. At least, that's what Brent Gary hopes. This geologist concentrates mainly on developing future lunar vehicles.
And anytime I ask a kid, hey, do you want to drive this lunar rover on the moon, their eyes get really big and they say yes. And so I think we got to develop the excitement for the kids now. And so by the time they get up to college, they'll be ready to go to the moon and get back up there and carry on where Buzz and Neil and all the other Apollo astronauts left off.
NASA wants to return to the moon in the year 2020, but the agency has to fight for funding. As the American economy struggles to recover, polls say that the public no longer sees space exploration as a priority.
To the moon.
Karen Kramer doesn't see it that way. She grew up at a time when trips to the moon were routine.
We went to the moon every 6 months, and then they stopped. It's sort of like, wait a minute, this was supposed to keep going.
As a member of the National Space Society, Karen advocates the exploration and colonization of the moon. She sees it as a good launching point for missions to other planets, but also as an ideal place to set up solar panels that would provide electricity to the Earth.
It's the other half of our planet, basically. And it's the size of Africa, it's another continent. We should treat it as such. We should use its resources.
Went back to Earth like this.
Karen believes that one day we'll return to the moon to stay, but for now, she'll have to make do with her Apollo 11 replicas.